And then finally, the thing he decides to do after talking to a few people for advice is he gets it in his head that if she gets what she's chasing, which he thinks is a date with him, then she might finally leave him alone. So he borrows money from Mom, he asks her on a date, they go to this diner in the local area. She orders nothing, he orders a bowl of cereal, they share the bowl of cereal. The bill is like $3, he leaves $40, keep the change, and then he walks her home again. There's a scene a little later where we see Ronnie talking to Pat. Ronnie tries to warn Pat that Tiffany is weird, tells him that she got fired from her job. Ronnie tells him why, but the reader actually never hears the reason why, at least not directly. Pat, though, sort of takes it the wrong way when Ronnie uses the word weird. Why is she weird? Because she's in therapy? Because she's on medication? I'm in therapy, I'm on medication. So we have one of those awkward moments, sorta, and Pat ends up just writing it off as Ronnie not understanding. Now, back at home, we have a little bit of tension of how the father views Pat, and some potential minor confusion for anyone listening because the father is Pat Sr., so for most of the time, I'm probably just going to refer to him as Pat's father. The father seems to be sort of disappointed that he has a son that had to be in a mental hospital for so long and now he's living at home without a job, mooching off his parents. But we don't really see that expressed in words, rather, the father is a quiet person, reserved, cares about Eagles football but doesn't really seem to care about much else. Game day is pretty much the only day where we see him come alive. But with a lot of pushing from Mom, Dad actually does break the silence with Pat by offering to leave the sports section of the newspaper. At the top of the stairs, of course, Pat's home gym system, all his equipment for working out is in the basement. So at the top of the stairs to the basement, the father tells Pat, every morning when I'm done reading the sports section, usually I take it to work and read it at work. Pat remembers when they were kids, they would all be like excited trying to ask Dad for the sports section so they could read it too, but he always took it to work. Well, this time the father gets up early, reads it in the morning at breakfast, and then leaves the sports section for Pat to read. So that is seen as sort of an opening up gesture. Progress, sort of, maybe. Meanwhile, Ronnie and his wife Veronica are planning a beach trip for them, the toddler, Pat, and Tiffany. Pat and Tiffany are sort of uncomfortable during the car ride because there's too much talking.